Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It's a Monday episode, which means it's a Joseph episode. Very excited to be back here on this Monday. Second half of the season is rolling along. There's no major stories, but there's a lot of like in between stories for us to talk about on this Monday. And I feel like it's kind of like picking up where we left off last week. The biggest story for me, at least, is that the Chicago White Sox have successfully lost 20 straight games. And this is coming after a team meeting with the manager, with ownership in the room on Friday before they got swept to get to 20, being like, we got to get it. We're better than this, like having this. That must be the most deflating thing in the world, to have a team meeting with ownership, with coaches, with the manager, and still get swept to lose your 20th straight game.
I got to tell you, just from afar, it was maybe the worst thing that could have happened, just because guess who's in town for the Oakland A's, and that's the White Sox. And I could have really used the White Sox catching a W at some point in time, because you just simply do not want to be the team
to lose to them. Yeah. There's pressure on you guys.
To the White Sox. But
you're the A's. If you guys lose, then it's kind of like, all right, you guys suck too. But
no. There you go. See, nope, Jay, no. Whatever opinion you have is now moot, because people feel that way. I feel that way too, Jared. It's tough. These are two teams who are just kind of learning along here at the end of the season. It is what it is. I would agree, not a big deal, but you still just don't want that energy.
The gap in losses between the A's and the White Sox is the same as the A's and the Dodgers.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we were actually talking about that the other day. Coley was like, how is the A's record this bad? Because every time we look up, like, the MLB account is posting some awesome shit that the A's are doing. Like, we feel like the A's are the best, worst team ever.
We bang, dude. Like, they hit a ton of homers. Like, just think about this. To be at this point in the season, where I think we're fourth in baseball in homers or something like that, but to be at this point in the season and still have over half of your offense come via the home run, like that's pretty telling, and that's how we roll. That's what they do. They hit the fucking long ball straight up. It was pretty cool too yesterday. We're talking about the streak. Again, Alumni Sundays. So I had Chad Pinder come down and talk to me, and I had Scott Hatteberg, who, both those guys are very endeared by the Oakland fans, but Scott Hatteberg is a goddamn king, and rightfully so. But I'm talking to a dude who hits a homer to extend the winning streak for the A's at that time to 20 games. And the White Sox are in the process of losing their 20th game, all while Brent Rooker hits a game-changing home run. It was just a kind of a cool moment, because we were talking about all that right at the same time. But dude, I can't to be in the room where it's 3 straight weeks of taking L's is just, that is a different kind of, hey, we're going to get out of this type of energy you got to bring to the table, man.
Dude, and for the on-field stuff, again, we could talk for an hour on just how crazy bad this team is, like, on a roster perspective. But we touched on it at one point, I think last podcast or on Wednesday, where it's become like a carnival act outside of the team too. Like we talked about with the Eloy Jimenez graphic thing. Did you guys see the Ozzie clip this weekend?
No.
Joey, did you?
Yeah.
Where he was like,
clips.
So I had forgotten that Ozzie was in the running for the White Sox job, or was like in the ether that he might get the job when the current manager got it. And Ozzie was there on the postgame show with Frank Thomas and Chuck Garfien and was like, Jared's going to play the clip, but he was basically like my self-esteem is in the gutter because they chose this guy over me.
Dude, he gets the most leeway out of anyone.
Told me today, if they not lose those 14 games in a row, they're still,
if they
still on the 500.
Take out no, not just that. You take out the 20-game losing streak and the 14-game losing streak, they still have the worst record in baseball.
Yeah. Wow.
The math is so bad. I thought they're 40 games under. No, they're 60 games under.
You look at it like the White Sox.
They lost 34 straight games. You combine 2 losing streaks.
That mean Pedro is 100 games on the 500.
Yes.
And he got the job.
He's 100 games under.
Boy.
Yeah. That's tough. So
I gotta go to college tomorrow. I gotta go to the doctor. No, I do. I had to bring my, because some few years ago I was happy, man. Now I'm bitter and weird.
You're bitter watching this team play.
No, it's like because I don't think I was the bad manager when they picked Pedro in front of me. I gotta see a psychiatrist. Yeah. So I'm drinking a lot.
You are.
I have problem with my wife a lot. I scream into the only people who get along with me is my grandkids. Everybody else, I hate him. I don't know why.
Don't take it personally.
Maybe that's why. I swear to God. I'm not playing around. A lot of people think, I know. I thought like I was bitter myself. Like, my God, I'm this bad. Then I went to manage in Venezuela. Come and go, wow, man, we
won championship.
I'm not that loud. So my city's go. It's like, holy cow. I should be embarrassed myself more than anything.
Jesus Christ.
That is incredible. That right there is exactly why you have Ozzie around. Because that's what's getting the play, that's what's getting the run, that's what people wanted to hear. It's so crazy that things have gotten to a point where that is the case, where that exists. You have the man who won the World Series for you, and he's now in this perch, sort of watching from this bird's eye view perspective, going, what is going on? Are you serious? This is what's like, am I this bad? It's just hilarious to hear him say it all out loud and process it all. Like you're driving Ozzie to drink, fight with his wife. He hates everybody but his grandchildren.
Yeah.
He's telling you, he's like, I'm now bitter and weird. I'm a fucking bitter weirdo right now. Like, this is where this team has put me mentally.
That's insane. I mean, I respect the hell out of it, to be that emotionally tied to a team that obviously he has a lot of professional ties to, even now, like doing the pre and post game for the White Sox. But where would this team be if Ozzie Guillén is managing? Like, that's the part where it's like, the roster is the roster, as we say here in Boston, but I don't know that they would be much better. Like, how many extra wins would they have if Ozzie's managing? 3? Just
being serious about it for a moment. I think what it would do, given him an opportunity like this, is I think sort of similar to Ron Washington back at the helm. And something that I see with Wash is nothing changes in terms of his approach to trying to grow these young players. Wash is the one who's out there still doing the infield drills. Wash is the one who's out there still doing early work with guys, right? And so if Ozzie were to be taking on this role, he would have to take it on seriously enough to a point where he understands the wins and losses aren't going to be there. Losses are, the wins are not. But are you ready to be able to grow these players and teach these kids how to play the game of baseball? And I think that's what we would see very quickly, is whether or not he is somebody that can manage this age group of players at this point in their careers, or if he's somebody who is just ultimately going to end up screaming at the clouds.
Well, and people can insult you and do you a favor at the same time. And Ozzie may feel insulted, probably correctly so, that they picked Pedro over him. But the White Sox also did him a favor not giving him this job, because to Dallas's point, they would be at the very best case scenario, like 3 or 4 games better than they are right now. It wouldn't be a meaningful difference in Ozzie's, kind of managerial reputation, such as it is, would be further or / tarnished. So, I mean, it's just an amazing clip, but I would feel the same way. You led the team to the World Series 19 years ago. That's the only World Series they have in the life of anybody who's still walking planet Earth. And they chose this guy over you. Listen, maybe they had their reasons, but if I'm Ozzie, I would feel the exact same way.
And he feels that way too, J-Hay, because there's no way that he can stand idly by and watch that happen, having watched Tony La Russa come back and get another crack at it as well. So he's probably thinking about it that way as well, going, Tony, and he's not saying if Tony got it. No, he's saying Tony got it. Understandable. Am I not? Like, does the ring not matter that much for me? Like I can't get that second crack. I don't get that second nut. Like that's tough. And to your point about the respect and doing them a favor, Jay Hay, is something that happened in Oakland with Bob Melvin. You know, Bob Melvin, we're talking about a 3-time manager of the year. And you understand organizationally what you're about to endure and what you're about to go through. And Bob Melvin at that stage in his managerial career was not in a position to take on a massive rebuild, potentially facing relocation. So they did him a favor and said, absolutely, go test the waters. We know you're going to have a landing spot. It was about 25 miles on the other side of the bay. And now you have somebody who, and this was my point about Ozzie, the A's, we have somebody who in Mark Kotsay, and I think organizations like to say this, and maybe it rings true sometimes, but there's nobody better for the A's to be managing their team right now than Mark Kotsay, with his desire and familiarity with the group that I'm talking about to grow them, because Kotz is the same dude that Wash is. He's the guy out there doing early work. He's the one out there hitting ball. Like, he's hands on. And it's no mystery that he learned that shit from Wash, and Wash is still doing his thing. So that was just to put a bow on it. Would Ozzie be willing to roll up the sleeves and go to work? That would be the one question.
Joseph, what do you make of 20 straight L's for the Chicago White Sox?
That's a lot, man. They almost have the record. They're going for 26. You know, if they get to the record, 26 games is the record. So at this pace, if they lose every game until the 26th loss, that would be against the Cubs, and then they have fireworks scheduled at the end of the game. So that's a fireworks night at the White Sox Stadium. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be a good meme.
My God. How many people, like, could that potentially be the highest attended game in this season for the White Sox? If
100%.
Fans know about that. Joe, explain that to the people one more time. I can't have you just breeze through that. I need you to hammer that point home.
The White Sox have a scheduled game against the Cubs at home. They scheduled it, and it's going to be a fireworks night. Big promotion. We want everyone in Chicago at this game. Turns out that would be the game they break the streak if they keep losing. So there's going to be a big-ass celebration for the losing streak.
So that would be the 27th L?
Let me look at I think 26. I think that would tie it.
So they would tie it that night. Okay. And that who holds that?
Oh, no,
record?
it's if they break it. The White Sox break the modern consecutive loss record. It will be at home against the Cubs. The loss is followed by fireworks show.
That is just so diabolical by the baseball gods.
Yeah. They're like, woo. Damn.
This is a team that wasn't that bad too long ago, man. The White Sox. They were World Series contenders
2021.
I mean,
2020.
This is a few weeks ago, but I had this tweet that just goes through that roster and where they are now, which was 3 years ago. And half the team is retired. And they're not even old. Like Yerman Mercedes, retired. Adam Eaton, retired. Jose Abreu, who won the MVP the year before, DFA'd. Tim Anderson, DFA'd. Moncada has played 11 games. Grandal has a 37 OPS plus. Eloy has a negative WAR. Nick Madrigal, negative WAR. So the only two players on their roster who have a positive WAR this season are Luis Robert and Andrew Vaughn, who have less than one.
It's crazy.
And that was like the young, up and coming. This team's going to be good for a while.
That was we're hanging Eloy's jersey in the dugout because what happened? His knee?
Something like that.
Yeah, he hurt his knee on the fence, right? They
was
were close bunch.
Was that when he jumped into the... That wasn't when he jumped into the netting on the side of the field, was it?
Yeah, I mean, what has to happen for there to be change? Or have they just accepted that this is who we are? I mean, obviously they've accepted that this is what this season is going to be, but what has to happen for there to be some sort of like institutional change?
Well, the owner needs to die, right? I don't know much about him, but everyone hates that guy.
Joe.
But he's old, Dallas. It's getting to be that point.
Well, and I have further bad news in that the guy who's like second in charge is a Reinsdorf. So I don't know enough about him and how he would behave. But if you believe that this is a Reinsdorf family problem, which everybody in Chicago seems to think, then it's fair to guess or wonder whether the situation would even change if Jerry Reinsdorf were to unfortunately pass away.
Yeah, that's it's either institutional change or it's a fiscal change where you're now just you're like, you know what? We're going to have to buy like sort of a major league team. We're going to buy those players. We're going to try to plug them in. It's going to fly.
No. Dude, they don't spend that way. They don't spend that way.
I know. I'm saying, but that like Jared asked the question, what happens? What changes? And then he followed up with, what changes institutionally. And that's a more specific question. And that's where you guys started talking about the Reinsdorf and the connection there. And so I'm saying, if there's going to be change, there's really only two paths. And one of them is institutional change, which you guys sort of laid out how that has to happen. And the family lineage doesn't necessarily lend itself to putting a smile on the South Side's face. So then from there, what do you have to do? Well, all you can do is spend and go buy the players, because if nothing's going to change where you think it can make the most impact, whether that's putting other staff members in place at the player development level, like, I always balk at that notion, because I know that there might not always be a connection between what you think is going on at an ownership level and what's happening at a baseball ops level or a player development level. Those things can also, those things cannot necessarily connect all the time.
Yeah. I mean, is it far-fetched to think that at some point, like, the league would have to step in and be like, this is such a black eye for our league? The A's obviously have a stronger case. I was looking at it this morning. The active, no, this is not an A's jab. The active 26-man payrolls. The Marlins active 26-man payroll today is $15.1 million. The entire roster.
Damn. How's that even legal?
The A's are in second place. The A's are 29th, and they double up the Marlins. The Marlins' entire 26-man roster is getting paid $15.1 million this year.
I don't even understand how that makes sense.
I don't know how you field a major league team with that payroll.
Well, that means they're paying people less than league minimum, which is possible because if you're playing half the season, but
there's no way,
almost impossible to pay people that little.
You have to remember, in the grand scheme, these are just businesses that are operating, and they happen to be operating collectively, and the synergy of their competition is what ultimately lines the pockets. And so whether or not they're competitive, that's just for the viewer. Like, there's no mandate anywhere that says you have to try to win these games. All they're asking you to do is field the team. Do you have 26 guys that you can pay and put on the field? Because whoever you put out there, like, that's your brand. So that's totally up to you. We just need you participating. What it ultimately feels like, Joe, and we've all been here, is the fantasy team who, after week 7, who hasn't won a game and has 3 players that are on the IR in their lineup and is just not paying attention and not looking, and they're just the automatic W for everybody moving forward, and everybody in the league wants that roster to be locked, changed, and blah, 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 blah. Like, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like to the fans. Are we just the walking W for everybody else right now? Do we not care? Like, that's a fan perspective.
I'm going to ask you guys a question. I want you to think about this. I want you to remove I don't want to hear any oh, this fan base doesn't even exist, because they're out there somewhere. These people do exist. Who has it worse? White Sox fans, A's fans, Marlins fans, Angel fans. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Those 4. Marlins, A's, Angels, White Sox. Who has it worse? The MLB season is in full swing, and Underdog Fantasy wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats, strikeouts, total bases, home runs, and so much more. Make entries of all baseball or mix and match across your other favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it is a ton of fun. Make sure you sign up with the promo code Jared, that's Jared, to get up to $250 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared. Shout out to the good folks at Underdog. We are doing some fucking big things over here. If you haven't seen it yet on our YouTube channel, the part 1 of the vlog from our All-Star Game trip at the Underdog house is live. It's about a 15-minute video. We had to split it up into 2 parts. Part 2 is basically the behind the scenes, the Dinger Derby. But part 1, the best part of part 1 is Joseph was mic'd up when he was riding the bull. And that is some can't miss content that you're going to want to check out.
Yes.
So yeah, it's behind the scenes at the Underdog house for the All-Star Game. Definitely check that out. Mike Eamon did a fucking awesome job, as he has done on all the vlog content. Be sure to subscribe. I think we're a few months into the Underdog era, and I think we've already surpassed our YouTube subscription numbers from like every channel that we've ever had at every stop we've ever been on. So we love to see that. Continue the support for the YouTube, because unlike in previous stops, actually, on the first stop, I would say we did have some out of podcast content, but this is probably the most outside podcast content that we've ever created with both podcast brands and the collaboration of the 2 brands. It's been a lot of fun. This is exactly what I had in mind when all of this began, and it's happening, and it's fucking awesome, and it's living up to all of my expectations and exceeding them. So be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out that vlog. Okay. So, gentlemen, I asked you the question, which fan base has it worse? Is it the A's? Is it the Angels? Is it the Marlins? Or is it the White Sox? Let's dive inside the weird brain of Joseph first. Which fan base has it worse, Joe?
Obviously the A's are because they might not even be a team anymore. Depending on how you look at it, they'll be a team, but where they're going to freaking Salt Lake City? No, they're not. Sacramento for 3 years. That's going to suck ass. And then who knows what's going after that. But I mean, A's right now are probably more fun to watch, the A's, than those teams right now. But that even makes it worse because they're leaving.
Yeah.
I think it's
fair point.
Obvious answer.
Fair point. Justin Havens, are you on board with the A's?
I am. I think it's an easy. I love the question. I think it's an easy answer, though. I actually think the order is easy too.
Yeah, I guess we should put them in order then. If A's are going to be across the board number 1, rank them. Who has it worse? A's number 1.
I'll start. I'll start since I've got it, and you can react. How's that sound?
Okay.
A's 1, White Sox 2, Marlins 3, Angels 4.
Because the Angels are at least going to try. They're going to spend money, but it's going to be on shit decisions most of the time. So at least there's a chance to kind of turn a corner some way, somehow. Like you're in a market where you can spend the money. The A's unequivocally have it worse.
Yeah.
The White Sox, you have an unwatchable baseball team. You're second fiddle to the Cubs. The ownership, there's no light at the end of the tunnel there.
We talk about them like they're a mid-market team. They play in Chicago. They should be a top 5, 6, 7 team in payroll, and they basically never are that.
Yeah.
Even when they're good.
I mean, the White Sox have won a World Series more recently than the Marlins.
Sure, but I mean, all 3 of those teams, non-A's category, all won within the same stretch of time. It's 02, 03, 05. So I'm not really distinguishing much between them. The reason I would have the Marlins behind the White Sox is because I feel like, first of all, I'm not even entirely convinced that a Marlins fan base exists. I feel like if you are getting invested in the Marlins, you got to be eyes wide open at this point. Like, the franchise has been the same clown show basically since its inception. And if you're getting into the Marlins, it's got to be as some sort of emotionally free sort of side investment. Like, unlike, I just feel like the White Sox, like, and the Bulls, like, it's the same ownership group. Like, this one ownership group has half of Chicago sports in a stranglehold for these irrelevant, iconic franchises. It's crazy.
Dallas, what's your 2 through 4?
It is probably in that exact same order. The White Sox, the Marlins, and then the Angels for every reason that we've already outlined. Like, you just think about who's closer to their future being able to do a complete 180. And sort of going back to the question you asked about where does the change happen? Who's closer to being able to create impactful institutional change, and who's also closer to being able to compete financially if they just chose to do so. And I think the Angels are the number one answer to that question. And then it would go to the Marlins, and then it would go to the White Sox, which is why 2, 3, 4, that's who's got it worst behind the A's. And in that order, that's who would be first in line to turn shit around. Halos.
It's like the old saying, right? Is it better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all? And I'm on the side of the Angels just got to experience maybe the most unique and spectacular player in baseball history, and their franchise icon of the last 10, 12 years. I know the recent history has been disappointing, but they still got to watch those guys play. They got to watch 2 Hall of Famers play. And while it is excruciating that they wasted those guys, quote unquote, I personally, as a fan, would rather watch that sort of greatness on my team over a half decade or decade run than to not watch any of that, as in the case with the Marlins or the White Sox, and obviously the A's as well. So,
have we done I know we did a podcast when Mike Trout had to come out of the game, but have we done a podcast since he announced that he's retorn the meniscus and he's done for the year?
No, because I think we talked about the fact that it was potentially cartilage, right? It was, this is just scar tissue, or not cartilage, scar tissue. And now we find out it's not. It's more than that. So yeah, brutal. I mean, this also, I mean, we plug the YouTube page, but I think this bears repeating. It probably, I don't know if we reposted it or not, but just the insight that Jay Hay gave to what sort of career we were watching, and then what we've watched unfold, what we haven't been able to watch unfold. You can look at it through a ton of different lenses, but just the unfortunate physical downfall of the career of Mike Trout and how brutal that is. And I think all, Angels fans don't necessarily gatekeep that, even though I think they probably would have an argument like, he's our superstar. We trust us. Nobody wanted him to do better than us. And you don't know what that pain is like. Now, there's going to be teams that have gone through that, but you get what I'm saying. Like, watching that happen is just, it's painful, man. It's fucking painful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be another opening day where the discussion, I mean, it's not going to be the sole primary discussion, but it's going to be a discussion on opening day. Is this the Renaissance season for Mike Trout? We've been talking about it for 3 years now. So yeah.
We're going to be talking about another fella a little further down the line, and I'm going to talk about like the comparisons between, I think, what we're seeing and what you might be able to see, and is maybe some of the physical demands part of what we have seen, but that's a little further down the line.
Yeah. And I also think, to Max's point that he made when we had him on last week, like now, like 500 home runs is kind of in jeopardy for Mike Trout's career. That's crazy to think about, but 500 home runs is in jeopardy for Mike Trout's career. But that being said, Dallas, it's totally possible to fall short of 500 home runs and still be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes. No. Well,
it's
yeah.
It's totally possible to fall short of 500 home runs and still be a Hall of Famer, Dallas.
Sure.
I won a World Series in the 90s, and I am in the Hall of Fame.
I have. Is this a hitter?
I am a 7-time Gold Glove Award winner and finished my career with the Cleveland Indians.
Omar Vizquel. No, he didn't finish with this. Oh my god.
I have 6 Silver Sluggers and 465 career home runs.
Not Jim Thome.
You can only guess once per hint. I am a 12-time All-Star with 3,110 hits.
Didn't I say this one already? Eddie Murray? No, he didn't retire. Fuck. Oh my god.
I was a first-round pick by the San Diego Padres in the 1973 MLB draft.
Come on, Dallas.
I never won an MVP, but I finished top 10 7 times.
I'm drawing a blank, man.
Played for 6 teams over my 22-year big league career, including one with the Blue Jays.
3, 2,
Nothing. I'm blanking.
Jay?
Dave Winfield.
Dave Winfield.
Yeah, no chance.
By the way,
Dave Winfield.
Quick, funny Dave Winfield story. Used to work on Baseball Tonight at one point, and they were at the, I believe it was the Rays-Phillies World Series, and he's on the main desk. Carl turns to him, asks him a question about the Rays, and he said, "You know what, Carl? I haven't really watched a lot of them lately." There were only 2 teams left. There was only one of 2 teams he could have possibly been tasked with watching. Hall of Fame player, not in the inner circle Hall of Fame of Baseball Tonight analyst.
Drafted in the first round in all 3 major sports.
And he got arrested for killing a bird at the game.
More serious Dave Winfield story though. When George Steinbrenner passed away, we were in the Baseball Tonight meeting room, and he almost broke down in tears, like basically because quick history lesson, like George Steinbrenner basically hired private investigators to follow Dave Winfield. And I encourage anybody to Google the Steinbrenner Winfield situation. But like George Steinbrenner made Dave Winfield's life utterly miserable for an extended period of time, and they ended up patching things up per Dave Winfield. But he was extremely emotional when the news of Steinbrenner passed and retold that kind of background story, which was one of the more powerful things I ever recall listening to while at ESPN. It was crazy.
Was that for like an arbitration case or something?
I think it was part of a contract dispute, if I remember correctly. And it like the ongoing ramifications and kind of the back and forth in the media. I think George Steinbrenner hired the private investigator to dig up dirt on Dave Winfield to try and like sully his reputation or use against him in contract negotiations. So, you know, we view George Steinbrenner a certain way, not to go on a total tangent these days and towards the end of his life. There are some people who got a different side of George Steinbrenner when he was less of a grandfatherly old man.
I don't know that many people view George Steinbrenner as like warm and fuzzy by any means.
I don't know. I feel like the end of his career and like post-death, he's been sort of like most people are. They've kind of been caricaturized in a certain way, and you only remember certain parts of them. And like, oh, George would be rolling in his grave for them not spending and stuff like that. And then, you know, you remember that he was like a legitimately crazy owner at one point that had to be removed from the sport of baseball.
Yes.
So apparently Steinbrenner signed Winfield to a contract, but read the contract wrong. And he thought he was signing him for $16 million, but it was actually $23 million. And Steinbrenner just didn't know he was going to pay him $23 million. Then he actually had to pay him $23 million. So that's why he was trying to dig up dirt so he could get out of the contract. But that's per Baseball Doesn't Exist script from 2 years ago. So that's pretty much set in stone as factual. Steinbrenner read the contract wrong. That shit happens.
I feel like if you're going to misread anything in a baseball contract, I feel like the amount of money you're paying the player is the first thing you look at.
Well,
and then the years
are.
Yeah.
How much am I paying you? How long are you going to be here?
Yeah. It's like, I feel like you could easily misread like, oh, I thought we were giving him 2 tickets on the road for a suite, but it's actually 10. What the fuck? That I could see a misread. But the amount of money that you're paying a Major League Baseball player, especially a high profile one, I feel like that's the first place you look before you sign the dotted line, as they say. Speaking of the Yankees, Aaron Judge became the 4th Yankee to have at least 3 40-plus homer seasons in team history, joining Dallas.
What'd you say? Are you asking me?
Yes. Aaron Judge became the 4th Yankee in team history to have at least 3 40-plus homer seasons with the team. Who were the other 3 guys?
The Mick.
Mm-hmm.
George.
Yep.
And the Iron Horse.
Yes, that's correct. It's quite the company. Quite the company to keep if you're Aaron Judge.
Yeah. As soon as he did that, I instantly thought back, like, I had my grandma go and take a picture of this baseball card that I have, and it's got Mantle, Thurman Munson, Babe, Lou, like every fucking Yankee great you can think of. It's got a piece of game used bat from each one of these dudes. And I was like, well, now we need to throw fucking AJ on this thing. Now we need a card with Aaron Judge on there, because that is just extremely rarefied air, man. That is stupid. I was just kind of breezing through his game logs, and I mean, I might be 1 or 2 off here because I did it very quickly. I think there are just 2 3-game hitless stretches for Aaron Judge this year, and 5 2-game stretches where he's gone hitless. That's
and
it.
how many of those games were the team just walked him 4 times?
Yeah, and that's what I mean, Joe. Like I didn't even dive into any of that. I just simply looked at it. I was like, how many times has the dude gone hitless? Like, just straight up, like, when we talk about streaks and lulls and struggles, and I wanted to see what his biggest struggle has looked like. What's his biggest offer look like? It's fucking 3 games. Twice.
I remember how fucking bad he was in the first month of the season.
I know, which is crazy to think about, because he was not producing, and you're laughing and you're going, what's going on with this dude?
If you look, it's
been twice he went 3 games without a hit. Twice.
Since May 1st, if you look at his stats, it's literally like there's no one even close to him. Not even he's got 257 WRC plus since May 1st. That's 80 games. Second place is Juan Soto, and he's 60 points lower than that. 192 WRC plus, which is second place, compared to 257, which is number 1. 821 slugging percentage since May.
821 slug.
Slug. SLUGGING, slugging.
I mean,
not OPS, slugging.
When you're on top of the mountain, like, people will obviously try and take shots or whatever. I feel like the different angles people have used to try and sort of discredit Aaron Judge's season, lack of clutch, lack of leverage, whatever, has kind of gone to a new level lately. And I stumbled upon a thread over the weekend where somebody was asked, like, what is Judge hitting on middle pitches, basically? And the guy responded, in his performance on middle pitches is obviously outlandish and way better than the league average. And then Tom Tango, who works for Major League Baseball and is one of the foremost sabermetricians and statisticians in the game, grabbed that and said, if you remove what Judge has done on middle pitches this year, just take it off of his record completely, he would still be the most productive hitter in baseball, and he's the most productive hitter on non-middle pitches as well. So it's like, you guys laid it out. I tried to, it's just every week. I don't know. I really am more and more convinced that, like, we've never seen anybody really do what Aaron Judge has done from the right-hand side of the plate. We always need to qualify these with, like, kind of non-Barry Bonds, non-Babe Ruth sort of qualifiers. But I just, he has continued to produce in this season in a way that I didn't expect after that hot run. Like, it's just incredibly impressive.
It's also crazy that since May, he's got a 500 on base percentage. So he gets on base half the time while still striking out 24% of the time. That seems
good.
Impossible.
Pretty good. I think, he was running away with the MVP award, and now Bobby Witt Jr. has reinserted himself into this conversation. That's going to be a dogfight to the end. Like, I don't think, like, what does Aaron Judge have to do to separate himself? You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, like, the guy already has 40 and 100. And then Bobby Witt Jr. just basically hit 400 with a fucking 1200 OPS for the month of July.
Buddy, he basically hit 500.
Yeah.
He basically hit 5. He hit 486 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that Judge wins it. Just because, if you look at the stats right now, they're basically tied in WAR, but Judge's offensive numbers are just so much better than Bobby Witt's in everything. I guess average, and then steals. But it's so much better offensively. You're basically giving Bobby Witt the MVP for playing better defense, which I feel like never happens.
I would be interested to find, or to wonder, to figure out what value does the stolen base have now? Like, if you're when you start to compare these two, a season that Aaron Judge is having and a season that Bobby Witt Jr. is having, and you see that there's a clear difference in one category, what has to be? Is there a number? Is there a gap between where one number is just so overwhelming in one category that you have to look at it and go, hey, this outweighs this for this hitter?
Mm-hmm.
Because the homers, the power, like, is it fair to say that Aaron Judge could potentially double the number of home runs that Bobby Witt Jr. hits?
He's currently double right now. So, yes.
So, if Bobby Witt Jr. has double the stolen bases, that's not as big of a deal, because Bobby Witt Jr. would naturally be in a position to do that. Or I think you would expect that from him. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and also, for sure, not only would you expect it, but also, like, a single stolen base is obviously not nearly as valuable as a single home run.
Right.
So,
we saw it last year with Acuna.
So
the metrics don't really value stolen bases like you might think they would. I feel like you need to have, like, close to or at least 40 steals right now by the end of the season for it to make a big difference with voters.
Yeah, is it like that? And that's where, maybe we started to get into the conversation. Is a 40-40 season something that could take the MVP from Aaron Judge?
No one's going to do that. Like, Bobby Witt's not doubling his number of homers over the remainder of this season. He's played 2/3 of his game. So, right. 30. I think it's going to be a race till the very end, because I think the Royals have established that they're kind of in this, and so his name's not going to fade. But I do think you guys are mostly right that, a 150 point gap in OPS or whatever it is currently is going to be enormously difficult to overcome.
Judgy.
And I think ultimately stolen bases are just a complementary piece of any MVP conversation. And I think that, Acuna took that to a new level last year, but he stole 70 whatever bases. Like, Bobby Witt's at 25 right now. So he has an uphill battle to maybe get to 40, forget 70. And he's obviously bringing something defensively that Ronald Acuna didn't and never really has. So it's a different argument in that sense, but I don't know if Witt being 25 or 30 stolen bases ahead of Aaron Judge is going to ultimately matter much.
So you think it's a wrap?
No. I think this is I just think Bobby Witt's case is going to be based on things other than stolen bases. Yeah. I think it's going to be based on the fact that he may hit 30 homers and that he may win the batting title, which, whatever. Batting average is what it is, but that obviously impacts all of your other stats as well. And his defense is legitimately really good. That's the other thing.
Do you think if, let's say, hypothetical hot tub here, Bobby Witt Jr. finishes the season one win better than Judge, but Judge hits 60 home runs again. Is it Judge's?
Does Bobby Witt Jr. go 30-30?
I mean, 30-30 is not even that hard anymore. We just saw Shohei already did it.
Well, trust me, that was going to be an easy segue. But yes, you're right.
I would say yes, Dallas, because if he's going to be a win above, then he'd have to, and he's pretty close to it. So yes, 30-30 season for Bobby Witt. One win better than Judge, but Judge's offensive numbers are just way better. But could that one win get him the MVP?
Like that's why I think it's more digestible for the fans if at the end of the year it was more nauseating when it was Judge versus Ohtani, because it's like, well, like Judge just hits and then Shohei pitches and he hits. So it was just more convoluted. But if we're having a conversation about Bobby Witt Jr. versus Aaron Judge at the end of the year, I think it would be very interesting to kind of have a conversation about how heavily we weigh certain statistics. Because Judge could be beating Bobby Witt in 6 out of 9, but if those 3 for Bobby Witt we just weigh more heavily, then how do we sort through this? Well, I think it's a matter of perception.
And I think that this is I think does also, since the decision maybe can't be made obviously after the regular season ends, but if these two teams are vying for the postseason, which as it sits right now, the Yankees sitting at the top with the Baltimore Orioles of their division, and the Kansas City Royals they feel like they have the Cleveland Guardians within shot. I mean, what are they back? 4 or 5, something like that. So if that's the case, then could it very well be whose team finishes closer in that division race? Like if the Yankees win the division and the Royals do not, but are going to the postseason, does that give Aaron Judge and his season a little more weight? If Bobby Witt Jr. is able to push the Royals to a point where they're battling with the fighting Steven Votes for that division title, does that give Bobby Witt Jr.'s season a little more weight should the Yankees drop to second place? So it's not about what they do in the postseason, but it could very well be about what they do collectively or what they do individually to get their teams closer to and at what entry level into the postseason.
I can see that. I think that's Bobby Witt's path.
That's his in right there, Joe.
Yes.
Because
if the Royals do come back and win it, they're going to, I mean, Bobby Witt's more valuable to the Royals than Aaron Judge is to the Yankees probably right now, just because they have Soto now. Which is kind of hard to say, but I guess it's.
I would agree.
If Bobby Witt has some big ass games, some big walk off hits like he's had the past month in the stretch, I could see voters saying, "Yeah, we'll give it to Bobby Witt," based just on that.
I don't really want to get deep in the weeds on that, but just for argument's sake, if Aaron Judge was not on the Yankees, they'd be behind the Red Sox right now, and if the Bobby Witt was not on the Royals, they would be in the exact same position in the division they are right now. But I couldn't agree more with Jared's initial point, which is that I think this is the most possible interesting / entertaining version of an MVP race that you can possibly have because of the way that these guys produce their value and the inherent contrast that exists between those. I agree. Ohtani complicates the situation as opposed to makes it more of an enjoyable argument, I think. But this is like your classic middle of the infield, does it all, broad base of skills guy against the single best power on base force in the game currently. I think it's great.
It is great. It's almost like Aaron Judge can give his rub to Bobby Witt Jr. Like if Bobby Witt Jr., if Aaron Judge never existed and Bobby Witt Jr. is having the exact same season and he's just a runaway MVP, are we appreciating Bobby Witt the same? Where it's like, hey, you're breathing the same air as Aaron Judge. Like, oh my God, you must be good if you're having an Aaron Judge type season, at least from a wins above replacement standpoint.
But the thing is, though, not to just quickly, like, even if Judge didn't exist, you could still argue that Soto could be MVP over Bobby Witt. I mean, you wouldn't right now, but he's pretty close. He's got better offensive numbers, similar WAR.
The idea that there's nobody else in the Royals lineup to even come close to shouldering the responsibility the way that Juan Soto could potentially shoulder the responsibility of missing an Aaron Judge type. I think that's my perspective on it, not about who's more valuable per se. And as Jay Hay said, if Aaron Judge and his production wasn't in that lineup, things would be looking differently for that entire team. Who else on the Royals If you take out Bobby Witt Jr., are you going, well, this is a guy that could carry us?
I've been told Salvador Perez is going to the fucking Hall of Fame, so I would assume it's him. Or are we backing? Or are we? Okay. All right. Now, yeah. See, this reveals exactly what we all need to know about Salvador Perez. Not that guy. No problem. Not going to do a whole Salvador Perez thing. But yeah, no. If he was Hall of Famer, you would expect that to be the answer, wouldn't you? Yes, you would.
Oh, I don't know about at this
I
point.
just got a very interesting proposition sent to me.
Oh, gosh. Is it appropriate for the air?
It is.
Okay.
And it also does have to do with the Kansas City Royals. I don't know. Like it may be up in the air. I'll tease it here and then I'll tell you guys off the air because it's not official yet. This was kind of just like, hey, do you have any interest in doing X? But it involves something at Kauffman Stadium, which I've never been to, by the way.
Beautiful ballpark.
Very excited if this happens. And let's just say the opportunity is very unique. Not something that you could just wake up and decide you want to do that day. You definitely have to be invited to do this.
Wow, that's very exciting.
Yeah. So, I'm excited about it. I played in the old time baseball game last summer. Fucking hammered one right up the middle. So I jogged to first. I didn't have to beat it out. Like, ball was almost at the fence by the time I got to first base.
Jesus. Fucking 93 hopper up the middle. Gets to the fence.
And I'll be playing in that game again this summer, which is in a few weeks.
Helen Keller tournament.
Jake is getting a uni. Steve Coley. Tyler, I believe, is getting a uni. And from what I've been told, I'll be facing Jonathan Papelbon. So I'm just saying, if I end up getting a hit off Jonathan Papelbon, Dallas, you'll never fucking hear the end of it for the rest of your life.
If Pap, I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to drill you, right?
He said he was, but it's a charity game.
Yeah, he's going to hit you. You're going to get drilled. You're going to wear it. You go
if he does that, then then that'll just be like, oh, I'm admitting that I can't. Like, you're going to get a hit, so I have to hit you.
No. See, here's what's going to happen is you're going to get drilled and everybody's going to laugh. And then we're going to be like, all right, sorry. All right, take your at bat. Serious at bat. Put a runner on. That's fine. But now let's take your at bat. So you're going to get drilled and then you're going to get punched out.
No.
I think that's how it's going to go down.
I agree. Like, I don't trust him. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't trust him to just like throw me strikes.
No, you're getting smoked. And I'm telling you right now, everybody just watch the front foot of the first pitch of the at bat for Jared Carrabis.
I'm not going to bail. He doesn't throw any sliders. He throws a fastball. He throws a 4-seam fastball and he throws a splitter. So like nothing is breaking like from my face towards the strike zone. Like, it's just not happening that way. So I'm not bailing out on anything.
Go out without a helmet. I double dog dare you.
I would.
Let's do it.
If I go without a helmet, then that makes him more apt to throw me a strike.
It also makes you more apt to die. Like, you're just that much closer to dying.
Yeah, if I know so. Pat, man, that man, he's a bulldog. He might throw you one up and in just because of that. Make disrespect. Pat don't play around.
I would venture to guess he is going to throw at me, but that's a bad look for him. You feel like you can't get me out. This dude's batting 1,000 in this game over the last.
I think that's more about. It's more about him being on brand than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Well, he better be careful.
No, that's fear, brother. That's fear in his eyes.
If he throws at Jared, he makes an enemy out of me, and he doesn't want that.
Yep. No, he don't. I'm only getting one AB. I'm not playing the field. I told him I'm not playing defense. I don't play defense. I'm hitting third, and I'm not. I'm trying to give me the best chance to have ducks on the pond, and guarantee an at bat in that first inning. So, listen, if you wanna see history, how mad would you be, Dallas, if I just laced one back up the middle? Because that's probably what's going to happen.
Why would I? I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at all.
You'd be mad.
Not at all.
It would expose the business. It would show how easy it is to fucking play Major League Baseball.
What, that you put the bat on a ball from a fucking retired pitcher?
He's not retired. I don't think he announced his retirement.
Inactive?
He's not retired.
I mean, he's still in phenomenal shape.
Sure,
He's 43. All right, so there's definitely been major league pitchers who have pitched until they're 43 years old. Oral Hershiser.
Yeah. Charlie Huff.
Jamie Moyer. Bartolo. Charlie
Satchel
Morton's
Paige.
getting there. Yeah.
Rich Hill.
Ryan. Rich Hill. There's been plenty of guys that have been big leaguers at the age of 43. So it's not like he's washed. And like I said, he's probably in better shape now than he was during his playing days because he has more time to recover and work out the way that he wants to.
He's rested.
Yeah. He's just out there in Mississippi, down the farm. He grows watermelons. So
Love that.
I'm just saying, Dallas. If he throws me a splitter and I like chop one into the ground, guess who's running right back to the dugout?
If he throws you a splitter, I got you swinging over top of it and maybe falling on your face.
No.
All right.
No, see, you're just like not accounting for the fact that I'm actually good. So
Well, the first time I see it would be the first time I see it.
I mean, we saw that at bat last year.
Are we going to be able to stream this? How's this happening?
We'll have videographers there.
Okay.
We'll have every angle of that fucking piss rocket up the middle.
Can't wait.
Yeah, that's going to be easy. Easy money. What'd you say? 1K if I get a hit?
No, I didn't say that. No.
You did. You cut out when you said it. 1K?
No. Nope.
So you think that I'm a viable enough threat to get a base hit off Jonathan Papelbon?
You've been using that little setup, that little teaser since I've no, that's not what that means at all.
That's
not
definitely. I mean, if you were confident that I can't get a hit off Jonathan Papelbon, then what's 1K to Dallas Braden, brother? You get that big league money.
No, it's just not. That's just no. It's not what I'm.
You get that NBC money, brother.
I'm not willing to throw
Put
that
your money
out
where your
there.
mouth is, kid. Come on now.
Because I don't know what Papelbon's doing. I don't know if
He
he's
just
gonna
pitched in
fucking
that
win one
Savannah
year for
Bananas
you.
game. Go look at the tape. He was throwing heat.
I'll have to check the tape. Let me check the tape and get back to you.
He said it was like high 80s, low 90s. So, I mean, I got fucking hit in the Field of Dreams game.
You did get hit.
Yeah, I was like, didn't give a shit about that. Like, oh,
You did.
sorry about that ball that we can't use now because it's flat.
Are you done?
I might FaceTime you while I'm up at bat against Jonathan Papelbon and swing with one fucking hand.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work out.
God, you're such a pussy. I can't believe you wouldn't put up 1K. That's crazy.
Well, is there going to be a defense behind you?
It's a fucking game, dude. They're all like college baseball players for the most part. It's like a mix of
Yeah.
college players and
Gonna throw Tyler at shortstop for Jared's at bat.
Exactly. Like this is what I'm not doing. This is what
they're
I'm
going to be
not-
on my team.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't know
Yeah.
how loose the rules are in this little
I think
thing
Lou
you got going
Merloni's
on.
going to be on Pap's team. So,
I mean, you're gonna have to hit it right at Lou, right? I mean, that's
buddy, where I
I
hit
mean-
him, there ain't no fielders there. So I don't know why you're asking me
Easy,
about a
shoeless Joe.
defensive
Fucking
alignment.
slow down.
Yeah.
Do we need a catcher? Not if you get it near the plate. We don't.
Shohei Ohtani became the third fastest to reach 30-30 in a season. Jay, would you like to take a crack at who did this faster? You probably already know. Fucking
I actually
weirdo.
don't. I didn't see the stat,
Oh.
so I'm. It's
Okay.
fun that I get to take a crack at it.
Fastest to
By
30 home
games played?
runs and 30 stolen bases in AL/NL history by games played. The fastest. Well, first of all, Shohei Ohtani did it in 108 games.
Okay.
Which ties a player that you can guess. And then the fastest is 90 games. The second fastest is 107 games.
Okay.
And then Shohei tied somebody with 108 games. These are
All right.
all very recognizable names.
Acuna last season.
Nope.
Barry Bonds.
But he tied Barry Bonds, 1973 with the Giants.
Oh, Bobby.
Bobby, excuse me. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I just
He
saw
would've been
Bonds
on
and
my-
assumed
Yeah,
Barry
he would
did
have
it.
been on my list too.
Bobby Bonds, 1973 with the Giants.
Fastest to 30-30.
Yep.
Eric Davis.
Eric Davis did it in 90 games with the 1987 Reds.
So I'm missing that in between one, this number
You're
2.
missing the 107.
If anybody else wants to take a guess, we can. Willie Mays.
No. You were alive to see it.
Ooh, okay. Alive to see it.
And this is for AL, or it doesn't matter, AL, NL?
ALNL.
Alfonso Soriano.
Mm-mm.
It's a good guess.
Jose
Griffey-
Canseco did it in 110 games.
It's pretty good. We cannot move on until we get this answer.
Yeah. Would you like a decade?
Sure.
The 90s.
Alex Rodriguez.
Alex Rodriguez, the 1998 Seattle Mariners, did it in 107 games.
So it's Davis, A-Rod, Bonds, and then Ohtani tied Bonds.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
How about that? Griffey never stole 30 bases in a season.
Yeah, Griffey kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
Griffey never stole more than 24 in a season.
His Ohtani's OPS plus would be the highest in a 30-30 season by anybody other than Barry Bonds.
Well,
Bonds
he's
is
on
92
pace.
and 96. Ohtani's is 187, I believe. And that would be the third highest ever, behind Bonds in 92 and Bonds in 96.
People aren't really talking about it, but Ohtani's having the best offensive season for a DH in history by far, folks. By far. He's on pace for 9 WAR, which would be 2 wins better than the highest WAR season by a DH right now. Primary DH, all right? If you play 10 games as a DH and you play the outfield, I don't count your dumbass, all right? We're talking about guys who are playing 80% of their games or higher at DH. Ohtani, right now, he's on pace to break the record. They have the highest OPS in DH history. The most stolen bases for a DH in history, already has it. Most WAR in DH history.
Well, he's on pace right now, Joe, to continue to lead the league in batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, OPS plus, total bases, runs, homers, everything.
First DH to win an MVP in the history of Major League Baseball. I'm thinking it's going to be Shohei Ohtani at the end of the season. And 40-40, it's likely. And if someone would have called that before the season, I would have said, wow, you're so smart for knowing that. And I did call that before the season, which is really smart of me. So I wanted to shout out Shohei Ohtani for going 30-30 because I bet a lot of money that he would, and I won, making me the smartest person on the podcast.
Yeah, you're a smart guy. Well,
And now the richest by far.
yes. Yep, Joey Warbucks. 40-40 Club is Jose Canseco, Barry Bonds, A-Rod, Alfonso Soriano, and Ronald Acuna Jr. Just kind of seems like Shohei belongs there. I mean, it's more so like, is 50-50 attainable?
Almost feels like that group's not even good enough for Shohei, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
40-40 seems like I'm checking the box on the way to where I'm actually going.
Yeah. You got 2 PED guys there, Soriano and Acuna. It's like, okay, Ohtani's better than all those guys.
You think he gets 50-50?
I don't.
Well, right now he's on pace for 45. So I think 50 would be tough for him. But it's possible. And you know for a fact he's trying to get 40-40. Like that's...
Oh, yeah. I mean, he stole 3 bags. He just stole 3 bags against the A's.
Yeah.
He's looking at that number. He wants to do it. He knows this is probably his only chance because he's going to start pitching again. He's not going to be stealing at this rate if he's pitching, most likely. So he knows this is his year to get his steals, to show, to get that accolade, put the feather in his cap. So I would not be surprised if he goes for 50. I would say he's definitely going for 40, and he'll probably get 40.
So this was part of the conversation that I was saying that we were going to have a little later down the line about Shohei Ohtani. And now think about what we're seeing from Shohei Ohtani, you just brought up the fact that he's not going to have the opportunity to just do this next year because he's hopefully and likely going to be pitching. In what role? I think starting is probably going to be how it's going to go initially, unless they have some different game plan. But not having him do this, not having him run the way he is right now is probably going to be a thing as well. Mike Trout, isn't this something that we had talked about, thought about, where if he's not going to be playing defense later in his career, is that going to be something that could maybe potentially open him back up to running a little more, because that was such a big part of his game early? Well, now after the second meniscus injury, highly doubtful that is ever going to be a thing again. So it's just looking at Ohtani taking advantage of not having the physical demand of the pitching side of things has opened up maybe a different layer of who he can be as a player offensively without the demand of pitching. And it's just unfortunate that I think I was somebody who had hoped where if Mike Trout is going to start to see the DH role later in his career, could that be something that opens him back up to running a little more, even if it's at a later stage in his career, because it's just something that we haven't seen at all. And I mean, that is all but gone, in my opinion.
Yeah. You're going to make me cry, man. Mike Trout.
Cheer up.
Yeah.
You know what? I have a quick tangent. You know what's interesting? That actually this is going to blow people's minds. I think the Angels right now are ranked 3rd in attendance in the American League, and last year they were ranked 6th. So, and I don't know the numbers, but that makes me think they have better attendance this year than last year. And if anyone would have guessed that, it'd be kind of crazy.
Speaking of attendance,
Mm-hmm.
I've watched the Dodgers. I've watched all these other teams come in, and you know the traveling fan bases, which fan bases travel well, which fan bases show up and support well, because I think those are two different things. You know, each city has their own little cell of fans per major league team, but I don't know that a team travels, a team fan base travels the way that the Los Angeles Dodgers fan base travels. But the Ohtani effect, very real. Very, very, very real. We just had 30,000 plus 2 nights in a row in Oakland, and the Dodgers had never brought 30,000 plus before like that. And this, it was obvious. Like, these are the Dodgers. This is what they've got going on. But a large part of that, too, is what this dude has now brought to the table and what the Dodgers and Ohtani have created together. I mean, it's a fucking sight, man.
Why do you think the Angels' attendance is higher this year?
Anticipation of the Rendon return.
Yeah, that's true.
Rendon was off the bump for Washington. That is, I don't know. That's unexplainable why that is.
The wash effect.
And maybe it's not. Maybe it's just outweighed. Maybe they played a lot more home games so far in the season. So like the numbers are skewed. And that's why they're 3rd now and they were 6th last year. But the fact that it's even a conversation.
Per game, it's way up too.
Yeah. More promotions.
It's like 24,000
No Ohtani.
to 30,000.
Your best player's hurt. And that's bringing him out.
Interesting. That makes no fucking sense. Jack Flaherty goes 6 shut in his Dodgers debut, Dallas.
Got to see that too. I saw the debut of Ohtani. I saw Ohtani go 30 for 30. I see Jack Flaherty mint himself as a Dodger. 6 innings. Yeah.
99 pitches. Punched out 7, walked 1. It's a nice little outing.
Good outing.
Yeah. What'd you like about it?
I don't know that there was anything necessarily that was, overwhelming per se. I think you got a good look at his ability to command the two breaking balls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, curveball, slider, we're good.
Did you get to talk to him before the game? Or
I did not
at
talk
all
to
during
him.
the series.
I didn't. I honestly, dude, every time I rolled in, so this is what we're dealing with too in Oakland. There was actually dual events both days. So they had a monster truck rally going on at the arena directly next door while the baseball game was going on. So you've got 20,000 people at that arena or however many people it holds. And then you've got all the fans, all the Dodger fans that had come into town. And the place was an absolute madhouse. So to get into the ballpark took an extended period of time. So by the time I got to the ballpark each day, guys were already down throwing bullpens and shit. So I ended up just watching bullpens. I did sneak over and watch Tyler Glasnow's bullpen from the side, but then he went out and started running and shit. I had stuff to do. So I didn't get to catch up with those guys. But watching Flaherty's outing, it was, yeah, like I said, it wasn't necessarily overwhelming, but it was just like, this is why they went and got this dude. And if this dude does this right here, this is a huge step for the Dodgers to try to get back to a team that was creating separation for themselves. You look at his numbers, like not numbers, but just the stuff during the outing: 36 fastballs, 29 strikes, 4 swing and misses, 28 curveballs, 4 strikeouts on the curveball, 7 swing and misses, and the 32 sliders, 20 of those for strikes, couple changeups. But like I said, it was fastball, curveball, slider, spin it to win it.
Yeah, must be nice to be able to pitch with a 10-0 lead too. You know?
Season high in knuckle curves thrown, both by quantity and percentage, and second lowest 4-seam rate in a start this season. So
yeah.
That's the Dodgers.
He threw 4 more fastballs than he did sliders.
I think actually the bigger story, though, if you're talking about Dodgers pitchers, is Kershaw coming back and not being very good lately. And that's probably a bigger issue for the Dodgers, or a bigger story for them than Jack Flaherty. But his last outing.
We talked about that on Thursday. You don't listen to the pod when you're not on it, Joe?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, just to touch on that again. Yeah, no strikeouts in a whole outing. That's not the Kershaw curve I know.
Well, I sent out a tweet. I watched Kershaw throw his bullpen, and he missed like arm side by like 3 inches and was just fucking livid. Just a full snap. Ah! Threw the fucking rosin bag down, grabbed the ball, and then was like, all right, here we go. Boop, 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 boop. Right back at it.
Don't look now, but the Padres only 4.5 games back of the Dodgers, and they beat the Dodgers this season. First time they won the season. We talked about this on Thursday too. Fuck. But anyway, the Padres, I said they were going to win the division maybe at the All-Star break. You guys laughed at me. 4.5 games back. Padres are looking fucking beasts of shit. They beat the Dodgers. First time they beat the Dodgers in a season series in 10 years. Come on. And now they're going against Dallas's Pirates. That's a tough series, but not really, let's be honest. And then they're playing the Miami Marlins, and they're going back to play the Pirates. And then they're going to Colorado. I'm telling you, the Dodgers are on notice.
You just wait, Joe. You just wait. Bucco's got something for that ass.
The Dodgers are on notice. I'd be a little nervous if I was the Dodgers right now, just a little bit.
What are you nervous about?
That the fucking Padres are steaming ahead while the Dodgers' entire team is hurt and can't pitch.
They're keeping pace right now.
What do you mean they're keeping pace? You think the Dodgers have a 4.5 game lead right now? I'm going to guess at one point they had at least a 10 game lead over the Padres.
I'm just saying, like, they've won their last 2. The Padres have won their last 2.
Okay, the Padres have won. They've won more than 2 in a row, if not.
Yeah, the Red Sox, no, they haven't. The Red Sox kind of jump-started the Padres.
But they're like 13-2 over the last 15.
Yeah. They're playing good ball, Joe. They're playing good ball. You worried if you're the Dodgers, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said on Thursday that I was that I had more concern than I had ever had previously. I would still heavily favor the Dodgers in the division, but I think it's at least interesting to watch for probably the first time all season. And I threw the Diamondbacks into that conversation as well, given the improved play and their own run up the standings. I know the Padres currently sit ahead of them, but that's really kind of a dual story in a way. Both of those teams have kind of come up from, within a couple of games of 500 or below to 8 and 9 games above with almost identical run differentials. So I think it's interesting. I don't think the Dodgers will be overtaken, but it's obviously more possible now than it was a month ago.
I mean, the Padres just look nice right now. And it's like every game is sold out. It's popping. Dylan Cease just do a no-hitter. And it's crazy to look at it. And it's been this way for the past few years. It's like the best Padres players aren't even the guys who are doing it for them. Machado's not having a great year. Tatis is hurt. It's Profar who still can't get out. Still been beast all year. Jurg is a beast.
Jurg.
Michael King. That ended up working well for the Padres too. Michael King has been a heaven sent, I would say. And they haven't had Yu Darvish in forever. Come on, Yu comes back in the mix. Because it's not like the Padres haven't had injuries either. They haven't even been hitting on all cylinders. But they're looking nice. I just love the Padres. I'm back on the Padres. I am a Padre.
You're all in on the Padres.
It's my new favorite team.
NL wildcard standings right now. The Atlanta Braves and the San Diego Padres are knotted up. Not in the loss column. They're 1 percentage point off. And then you have the D-backs, just a half game back of both of them. And then the Mets on the outside looking in, a game and a half back. So a lot of credibility, Joe, for the NL wildcard. We were shitting on that, being like, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of teams that have losing records that get in the postseason in the National League this year. And it's turning to quite the competitive race with some pretty good teams that are playing good ball right now.
There you go. Look up now. Arizona's in the mix. Mets are out. The Braves might not even make the playoffs. I'm saying it right now.
Wow.
Just kidding. They're going to make the playoffs.
Oh.
But only 1.5 game lead for the Braves. They're 1.5 games from being out of the playoffs, which is crazy to see. I don't think it's going there. The Braves are actually looking better. I actually have a lot of faith in the Bravos, unlike some people.
Well, if you want to see the Braves in the playoffs, Game Time's the place you got to go. That's where we got our playoff tickets to see the Braves last year, Joe. It's a Game Time app. That's a fact.
Forget it.
Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace in Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets the first pitch, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. When we did go to Atlanta last year and we didn't have tickets to the game, we went on the app and we were like, oh, we can look at these views from your seat. Picked out 4 awesome seats, had a great time. Joey was blackout drunk and harassing Blooper. What a night. What a night it was for the Phillies. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. Save even more when you choose a section and you let Game Times choose the seats for you. They've got all-in pricing. Toggle that feature, and it shows a total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry today. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code BID for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use the promo code BID for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Some good news on Jacob deGrom. Jacob deGrom is ready to face hitters. He threw his last bullpen on Saturday. 45 pitches in the bullpen, simulating 3 innings of work. His next time out, he will be facing live hitters. Everything felt good, deGrom said. It was definitely exciting to face hitters again. This is a long process. It's definitely exciting to face hitters again. This is talking about the next time out. This is a long process. Where I was at throwing these 3-ups, I was seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Now you're going to have to have somebody step in, and that's when it starts to get close. I'm definitely looking forward to it. There's still some work to be done as far as location, deGrom said, but having a batter step in, the intensity will change a little bit, and that's where you really find out where you're at. You can throw bullpens all you want, but when somebody steps in there, you kind of get that extra gear.
Sorry, if Dallas has some like pitching things to say, I'd rather he go first. But otherwise, I just feel like we're up against the clock on this one because I feel like the Rangers' hopes are slipping away. And you just kind of get the feeling that if the Rangers' playoff odds are literally 1% or 0.5% by the time deGrom is actually ready to step back on the mound, like what are we really seeing from deGrom this year? And I'm just saying this from a perspective of a guy who wants to see arguably the most dominant per inning pitcher of his generation pitch. That's all I want to see. I know the Rangers have more serious considerations than that, but their playoff odds currently sit at 6%. They're 5.5 games out of their division. I believe 9 or 10 out of the wild card, 9.5 out of the wild card. So like,
what are we doing?
How much deGrom are we getting?
What are we doing? What are we doing? I said this last year. That's why, like, Jay, I don't really have many, like, what do we want to talk about? We want to talk about what it's like to come back and go through rehab and what he's facing. And I can tell you that because I'm a professional rehabber. I know what that's like. It's fucking terrible. It sucks. It's shitty. And yes, the minute that you do have another warm body step in there, the competitive juices flow. That's when you really get tested. That's when everything that you've done to get back to this mound starts to be put into perspective. Have I done enough? Is it going to be enough? Will I be able to sustain, recover, rest, and repeat? That's all that he's going through right now. And he has gone through that. He would tell you himself, he's a professional rehabber. He knows what it takes. He knows what he's going through. But outside of that, do you remember when I told you that the Texas Rangers were going to be better served just having forgotten about Jacob deGrom? Moving on from Jacob deGrom. Don't let the anticipation of the return of Jacob deGrom hold you hostage. Don't let that prevent you from going out and making moves if you think that's what needs to happen. And I don't know that that's what's happened, but Jacob deGrom returning at this point with where they're at in the season, what are we doing?
Not to take us on a tangent necessarily, but like the deGrom thing leads me inevitably to the fact that Max Scherzer was placed on the IL over the weekend. And, not to get overly romantic about baseball or this generation or whatever, but like if you couple the fact that Max Scherzer is going back on the IL, with what seems like the 18th edition of shoulder fatigue or arm fatigue or whatever that he's dealt with in a Rangers uniform, and you couple that with what we saw from Kershaw at the end of last week and the fact that Verlander has been on the shelf for a long time, and we'll see what he looks like when he comes back. But it just feels like we already knew we were at the end of this generation. Greinke's moved on. These three are still lingering about, but like this is, 11:59 p.m. on this generation, this trio of pitchers. And like, yeah, it really should be treated as 4. And I'm glad you are emphasizing that. You don't get this every generation necessarily, in the fact that we had 4 guys competing at this level, and then it looks like they're all going to peter out at almost the exact same moment. There's a romance about that, and not necessarily in the best possible way, but just wanted to note the Scherzer thing as well. Because I believe he said, I don't know how much longer I can keep pitching. That's pretty ominous, right? Like, and obvious and ominous, right? Like, yeah.
Think about what that's why I said, like, the injury that he's coming back from. Like, you can do a lot to get back there, and to sustain it is completely different. That was, yeah. So the fact that he was even able to get back, and that's a completely different story.
That'd be a hell of a photo to see Verlander, Scherzer, Kershaw, and I know that like some fans probably wouldn't want to put deGrom in that class, but if we're talking peaks versus full body, I mean, deGrom is definitely part of that class.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of sheer peak, you could argue that almost nobody has touched what Jacob deGrom has done. Yeah, as long as you don't want it over 200 innings in a season. Like every single search that I do on Baseball Reference about dominant streaks of pitching will return Jacob deGrom seasons. Like that's just how it goes. And maybe those seasons he only ended up making 15 starts. But no, I think for different reasons, both deGrom and Greinke should be included in this conversation. But obviously for totally different reasons. But yeah, it's tough. But like to the Rangers specific thing, like, yes, deGrom coming back was part of the plan, but so was Scherzer. Like we're breezing past the fact that he was ineffective mostly and is back on the IL. But like part of the calculus for the Rangers all season was we're going to get these reinforcements. It's going to act like our own little trade deadline. And I think this podcast had pretty muted expectations for what the quantity or quality that you would be getting from these guys. But like that Scherzer came back and gave them almost very little. And that by the time deGrom comes back, they may be dead in the water. Is a disappointing turn of events for the world champs, even if we feel okay about what they may look like at the start of 25 with a fresh slate.
Yeah, on to 25.
Yeah. Last thing for me here, Paul Skenes, quote unquote, struggled in his start on Sunday. It was his third worst start of his big league career. It was his worst start since June, but it was still 5 1/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Like that's like the best start of a Red Sox starter in the second half if we got that. So like I have a hard time saying that he struggled.
The one thing that stood out to me was that the Diamondbacks absolutely loaded up on left-handed hitters in this game. And if you look at Paul Skenes' righty-lefty splits, you could say, so what? Like he's been dominant a bit against both of those guys. I believe his OPS split is almost non-existent between righties and lefties. And I'm not saying that's the way to get to Paul Skenes and that's why he struggled. But when you're looking for what was different between what Paul Skenes did or dealt with in this start versus previous starts, this was his most plate appearances against lefty batters in a single start this season with 20, and he only got 2 plate appearances against a right-handed batter in the entire game. So different look, little less efficient, but that's definitely what stood out to me. They stacked the deck a little bit there.
Yeah, fastball command for Skenes, which is going to be really important for him, I think for obvious reasons, because everything else plays off the fastball. He's setting the speed limit with his fastball, which in today's game, I want to say is not as easily done. And here's what I'm getting at. There's a lot of guys who throw 95. There's a lot of guys who throw 98. The majority of those guys are coming out of the bullpen. So the guys who can do that with every pitch they show, every pitch they feature, that group is small. And Paul Skenes is a dude who is throwing 100 miles an hour. So that speed limit is different than the one being set by the guy who's going to show you 96 or 97, but is probably going to have you cruising in that 95 mile an hour zone more times than not. So to set the speed limit with his fastball means you got to be ready to go just that much more quicker, which means everything else looks that much more appetizing or hittable to you simply because you have to make a decision. It isn't more hittable. It isn't more presentable. It's just in and out of the zone and in and out of your line of sight that much quicker. You got to go. So if he's not able to put the fastball where he wants or force the issue with strikes early, then guys start to sit on and look for that pitch for a strike. And they're like, I'm not even offering it the other shit. I can't hit it anyway. I don't want to get to that anyway. So if he's not going to be in the zone with the fastball, then I think we got a fighting chance. So for him to struggle the way he did with fastball command and still get out of there with the type of outing he did, again, just speaks to another layer of the pitchability that has come with this dude who has just been a fucking prepackaged, ready-made ace, ready to shove it up your favorite team's ace.
Damn.
Not my ace.
Yeah.
Wow, who's your ace?
He ain't shoving it up my ace, tell you that much.
You fucking no lube, Joe. Your ace is in play.
Max Fried looked like shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? You want to talk shit about Max Fried?
Well, I'm just saying.
This is what the podcast is coming through. And Max, okay.
Well, I mean, you brought up your ace, and he walked 5 3 1/3 or whatever it was. So
I was referring to my
I know what you were
personal
referring
body,
to.
my ace. Dallas
My
was saying
orifice.
that Skenes was going to do something. Do I look like Livy Dunn, bro? It ain't happening. I don't play that shit.
No, that's
What, if
not
you
the
want to
vibe you gave off when I saw you last.
Thank
No.
you.
Yep.
Max Fried, not the best start, but coming off, a little bit.
You don't have to. I was just kidding. It's fine.
I just want to say, Max Fried, the fact that he's back pitching, because we talked about this injury that was kind of ominous. We looked at the guys who had
Omnious.
Yeah,
Shut
but
up, Jared, just let it go.
ever fucking heard of it? Omnious, a little mysterious, a little bit. This could be bad. This might not be anything. Omnious. All right. Sorry, dude. I don't know if you ever went to preschool, but they taught me that there. Anyway, omnious.
Let's have that preschool investigated.
It was an obvious injury. Everyone was talking about it.
Not a gold star school. It sounds like, I don't think. Yeah.
Look up the articles. It was a word that was used throughout the baseball community. I guess you guys aren't reading the articles. I was reading a lot of articles.
Never been used.
It was an omnious injury. And now we're looking at, he had an omnious first start, as Jay Hay pointed out. But I think the bigger story is the fact that he's back on the mound when we had history of 4 or 5 pitchers be out for like a month, 2 months, 3 months indefinitely, and Max Fried's already back. And he was a little wild, but I'm just happy that Max Fried is back, because the Braves, I still love the Braves' chances right now because our pitching staff has been dominant all year, and no one really talks about that, but we have the second best pitching staff in the league right now. And if Ronaldo Lopez, who I'm more concerned about than Max Fried when it comes to injury, and Max Fried are both healthy, then I love the Braves just going to the playoffs, because I think the offense has been so shit all year, and I have faith that the offense will eventually get going.
I think we just need to avoid anything omnious happening to Jurgensen. And we'll be set.
I agree.
I mean, that's baseball for you, man. It's just
shit. It ain't that baseball.
You think you got to figure it out, then some omnious ass shit happens.
Some omnious ass shit.
And then you find yourself just punching yourself, right, Jay? Then you find yourself just fucking punching yourself. Like old Paulie punch the fucking Halos out in his New York Metropolitan.
Is this your final thought? Did we skip right to that? Or?
No,
this is a topic.
Well, you know what? Do we want? I mean, I can go.
This is off rundown for sure.
Skip to the final thought here.
All I know is that MLB listing his nickname as Blackie is not the right answer.
Yeah,
didn't you just say that all you had left, Jared? You said all I have left is.
Yeah, that was my Skenes.
Okay, so then that would mean that we just overlooked. We can get to Paulie Punch out in a minute, because we're not going to overlook Blake Snell throwing a fucking no-hitter. That's what we're not going to do.
Okay.
That's what we can't possibly do. Blake Snell dials up an absolute fucking gem. Just a pearl of an outing for Blake Snell.
Was that the first time he threw a complete game?
What's that? Yes. Yes. First complete
first time
game
in the 9th inning
in the career of Blake Snell. And the reason that matters is because I know exactly how that feels. First time I ever saw the mound in the 9th inning of a big league ball game as a starter was my one good day of work. Blake Snell has had many more good days of work than I will ever have. His day was like this, as far as the pitch selection and repertoire. 53 fastballs, 39 strikes, 4 strikeouts on the heater, 5 swing and misses. The curveball, dancing, 40 curveballs, 27 strikes, 7 punch outs on the curveball. That's where the work was done. That's where the dirt was done, with the curveball and the heater. The fastball command on the inside part of the plate, you want to talk about like taking ownership over one side of the plate and then watching it pay the dividends that it did. You got 95, 96, 97 in, off, in for strikes, in, off for effect, and then you drop that fucking banger like he was doing, that curveball. Buddy, good fucking luck. Good luck. Flash the slider. Just 5 of those, 2 of those for strikes. No big deal. 16 changeups, 10 of those for strikes. And you will always, in my opinion, see this number look as sexy as it does for Blake Snell here when you see dominant outings. And I just talked about Paul Skenes lacking the fastball command, maybe not getting ahead of guys. Well, Blake Snell was 25 for 29 in first pitch strikes. So it's 0-1. And when you have the kind of shit Blake Snell does, when it's 0-1, it really feels like it's 0-2. And when it's 0-1 25 out of the 29 times, every motherfucker that's taken it at bat feels like it's 0-2. Blake Snell punched out 11 Cincinnati Red Leggings in his first complete game no-hit effort. fucking dominant.
He's having a Braden moment last two
Give
starts.
it a Lasky. And Joe, you something else this needs to be, in my opinion, is a cautionary tale to the organizations out there, not to the players, but to the organizations out there that are telling themselves that they're going to be okay with dragging out negotiations that potentially see impact players, and I think more specifically impact starting pitchers, have to work their way through a modified spring training in an effort to get to their club at a point where they can be the impact arm that they want them to be. Who knows how things are going to shape up for the Dodgers at the end of this season? I think we have an idea, but should they fall just a few wins short, wouldn't it feel like Blake Snell being healthy, Blake Snell being ready to rock at the beginning of the season could have very well made an impact? And my point is, we're not going to blame the player for not being ready, because the player is ready. It's about what the team essentially is willing to compensate the player for and with. So from there, the player can only do so much, which means I'm ready to pitch. I need a place to do that. If the negotiations between us are preventing that, you're also the one who's a part of this. I'll be playing catch and ready to go, but we all know that I'm going to need a spring training. So if you're okay with dragging it out this far, so am I, because I'm going to get the money. Wouldn't you like to get the wins? We would both like to get the wins. So let's put us in a position to capitalize on that. So that's just a little aside from that. But Jay, go ahead. You look like you have something to say.
No, go ahead. I'm just listening.
But the Blake Snell, the way the season has gone, you take out those two starts for Blake Snell, the two blow-ups that he had, the one against Tampa and the one against Arizona. You take out those starts and his numbers go from what's he sitting at right now? 4.29 ERA. That goes down to a 2.81 ERA. Hitter's average goes from a 193 in the 11 total starts down to a 151 in just those 9 starts. So again, you take out the couple blowups and then you have to factor in some of those rehab starts. I think there was like 3 or 4 of those starts. And now you start to think, man, that's like 7 starts or so that we could have had Blake Snell ready to rock if we would have had everything together negotiation-wise.
Snell's ERA is more than 2 runs higher than it was last season, and his FIP is actually better than it was last season. Like there's, to your point about taking out the bad, like in some ways you don't even have to do that to see that he's
doing.
Yeah, he's dealing in a way that in some ways is more impressive than what he did last season.
What would be really cool to see is this Blake Snell? Could this be Blake Snell learning how to finish a ball game? I mean, because the first time you do it, you don't say, oh, like I learned how. That was cool. But now you're able to go back and you can start to look at your outing and take a look at some of the decisions you made at certain points in the game, certain parts in the lineup. And now you start to evaluate how you're able to get deeper into these outings. How am I able to do this stuff? And if I'm toting around 97 through the fucking 8th and 9th, I feel pretty good about it.
I want to look at how he's pitching, if he's pitching differently, trying to go deeper in the games. Because I suspect that like a lot of people saying like he doesn't go deep in the games, and with the Rays specifically, a lot of that might have been just the Rays telling him to pitch that way. Because that seems like the Rays strategy. We have 1,000 relievers, just gas out. We just want 5 innings. It's not that Snell wasn't able to do it. It was like that's what they asked him to do.
No, you're absolutely right, Joe. There is based on what I know, that is the modus operandi. Pedal to the metal, spin the shit out of it, give us what you got in this burst. We'll go from there.
The what? I get called out for omnius?
Well, fuck is one of those is one of those is a Latin phrase. One of them is a made up word.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, omnius isn't a word. All right.
It's not. Wait, are you joking? I can't tell anymore.
Oh, I love it, Joe.
Omnius isn't a word. What is it? What is the word?
Ominous.
Ominous. All right.
No.
I have
you did it again, Joe.
I have an accent.
I have a fucking accent. Like,
ominous. You're flipping the 2 letters.
Omnius, bro. We say it differently over here. You don't get it, man. Fuck, bro. Come down
I don't know if
South,
it's
they say things a little differently, bro.
I don't know if it's the accent as much as it's maybe an impediment, but
He's doing a good job.
Yeah,
Good job. I'm
So-
literally trying my best every single day, and it's like.
So that's Blake Snell shoving it up the Reds' ass. And now you can poly punch yourself, Jay Hay. Doesn't need to get elaborated on. We already touched on it. Paul Blackburn, 6 strong innings.
Great debut.
6 punch outs. 6 innings, 6 punch outs. Jay Hay, let me just ask you this. If I were to tell you that you were getting Paul Blackburn for the New York Mets to take his start and he would punch out roughly a third, not roughly, exactly 1/3 of the outs he accumulated, would you take that?
Oh, I would. Unless it was a situation where he only accumulated like 3 outs and punched out 1 person, right?
Well, then that would be tough. That would be tough. That
all
would
about
be
context, but good job by
Mr. Context.
Paulie punch himself.
Yeah,
really great debut. As I said,
So-
great pickup for the Mets clubhouse leader.
Did you say that? Did you say
I
that?
did. I said great pickup.
I don't know if I heard those words.
Nope, I did. Leader.
I heard him say that.
Anybody who can post a 4.5 ERA under the conditions that he had to pitch in Oakland these last couple of years, probably he didn't even have a mitt for some of those games.
Wow.
That's not true.
I don't know. I don't watch him start.
That is not true. Actually, how about this? Kevin Biggio had a ball hit through his glove the other day.
Nice pickup for the Dodgers.
Just didn't have a first baseman's glove in the dugout. There was not another first baseman's glove in the dugout.
Not acceptable.
We had to wait legit 5 minutes for someone to go up to the clubhouse, get a glove, come back down.
Well,
it was a fucking grind.
You know what? I didn't have a take on this until you brought it up. That's outrageous for a man who's being walked around being called a super utility player. If you are going to go by super utility, you need to have all of those gloves ready to go at a moment's notice. Especially if you're bad. I made the point about super utility. Bad relative to all other Major League Baseball players, of course, better than me. There you go,
Jay. There you go. There you go.
That's takeaway from Thursday. Yep.
Yeah.
No one sucks. Everybody's really good. Yeah, everybody's really good.
You're good by Strami.
Are great.
There you go.
Gold stars for all of you.
I think Caleb Ort's actually having a good year. Not that anyone gives a fuck, but let's see. What's this fucking idiot up to? Can we say that, Dallas?
Fucking punch out. What? Say what? You got shit to talk about, Paulie Punch Out?
No.
He's doing Ort content now.
Yeah, 6 2/3, 135 ERA, 9 strikeouts, no walks. Wow,
that's good.
Wow, only took him 4 years to figure out how to pitch in the big leagues.
Is he a good major league pitcher, Jared?
In his 4 appearances for the Astros, yes. Yep,
that's all you can ask for.
Truly,
to be good when you pitch.
Yep, He was not good before, and he's better now.
Yep,
but still has always been better than me.
Yeah, got that career ERA under 6. So happy for him. Joseph, any final thoughts today?
I can come up with one real quick.
Hit me
You want
with
we
it,
should
brother.
give a shout out to?
Yeah, give a shout out.
Who's finally? Well, first of all, the Diamondbacks are coming alive.
They've been alive.
They've been alive for the past.
Snakes alive
Since right before the All-Star break. They got hot since the All-Star break. Been one of the best offenses in baseball. And the one guy, Corbin Carroll.
Jesus.
Colin has shown me a lot.
Wait, you called him Colin again. Are you okay?
Colin has shown me a lot since the All-Star break. All right. Everyone has their little nicknames. Everyone goes by certain names.
Yeah, that's his nickname.
Call him Corbin. Some people call him Colin. I like going by Colin because if you look around the league, we got a plethora of Corbins going around. We got Corbin Burns. We got Patrick Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
Corbin Blue from High School Musical. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Hit it out of the park.
Yep.
There's a lot of baseball players named Corbin. I say go by Colin, more marketable. Colin Carroll, since the All-Star break, finally is getting hot. And he might be back.
Jurgensen Profar and Colin Carroll.
Colin Poche Eraser.
Mm-hmm.
two of the most valuable players for their team going forward.
I think he also said Ronald Blanco one time.
Yeah, he did. It was for sure a Ronald Blanco.
How do you pronounce that?
Ronell?
Ronell.
Well, that's tomato type stuff. Have you ever asked him how he pronounces it?
Not personally, no, I have not.
Okay, so shut the fuck up and let me get my final thoughts out.
Proceed. It's your time.
Snakes alive. Padres alive. This
Colin.
NL West division is closer than you might realize. Snakes 5 games back. Padres 4.5 games back. Dodgers juggernaut. We all know that. They're banged up. They're relying on Shohei to do it all. Freddie Freeman's coming back. I want to give out a shout out to Freddie Freeman and his family. I know I hate his family, but that's sad. And I'm glad he's doing well, coming back.
Yes.
So
he'll be back.
I'm
You
just
hate
excited for
families
the
in
NL.
general. It's families in general that you dislike.
Yeah, you're not just a Freddie Freeman hater. You hate the family dynamic.
Yes.
Period.
You hate when players aren't focused on 100% baseball.
I'll give Freddie a pass this one time because it was I don't want to be that guy,
Right.
So
Right.
and he's probably going to be really good when he comes back.
That's true.
Now that he's back.
Jay, hey, you got some nugs?
I do.
Oh, please.
Some incredible pitcher runs that have been going on recently. First with Skenes. He is the 3rd pitcher in MLB history to have an ERA under 2. He's right up there at 1.99 and at least 100 strikeouts through his first 14 starts. That list is him, Tanaka in 2014, and Hideo Nomo in 95. Hunter Green continues to absolutely dial it up. Over his last 5 starts, he has 33 innings pitched, 10 hits in 33 innings pitched, and 1 run allowed. He is one of 3 pitchers in MLB history to have a 5-start span with no more than 10 hits and no more than 1 run, joining, as I alluded to earlier, Jacob deGrom in 2021, and this one is unpredictable, Rich Hill from 2016. That 5-start streak for Rich Hill actually featured 1 start where he left after 5 pitches. So a little bit of an asterisk, but he was unhittable in those other 4. Spencer Schwellenbach, Joey's boy, has 38 strikeouts and only 1 walk over his last 5 starts. The only other pitchers aged 24 or younger to have a 5-start stretch with 38 or more strikeouts and 1 or fewer walks in the wild card era are Noah Syndergaard in 2016 and Julio Urias in 2021. Mr. No-hitter himself, Blake Snell, he is the first pitcher in Major League Baseball since Blake Snell with the Padres in 2021 to have a 5-start stretch allowing 8 or fewer hits and 40 or more strikeouts. So some pitchers doing some absolutely insane work lately. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. led all of baseball over the last week with 1.0 FWAR. That week alone, at this point last week, he was tied for 47th among batters in FWAR. He is now tied for 21st after that amazing week of work. So shout out to Vlad beating the Billy Butler allegations for now. Salvador Perez hit his 20th home run of the season over the weekend. That gives him tied for the 6th most 20 homer seasons by a catcher in MLB history, behind Piazza, Bench, Berra, Brian McCann, Gary Carter, and tied with Jorge Posada. Patrick Corbin, 5.88 ERA. He pitches today and a 67 ERA plus. He is on track to be the first pitcher in Major League Baseball history to post 3 seasons with an ERA plus of 70 or worse in at least 120 innings pitched. He's already one of only 3 pitchers to have even 2 such seasons in his career, along with current Cubs broadcaster Jim DeShays and a man named Vic Frazier. Those are the only 3 to do it in modern baseball history. That's since 1900. Corbin could set himself on a new pedestal for combination of not being very good and consistently taking the ball, but still better than me. George Kirby has a 4.33 ERA had a 4.33 ERA over his first 11 starts. He's got a 1.95 over the last 12. So my Cy Young pick making a late push here in the AL. Wilyer Abreu has a 1.197 OPS over his last 19 games. including 13 extra base hits and 20 RBI, in spite of the fact that only 12 of those 19 games were starts for Abreu. And the last nugget of the week, 3 teams have multiple batters among the top 10 in F-WAR over the last month. Those 3 teams are the Yankees, Soto and Judge, the Red Sox, Duran and Devers, and the fightin' Oakland A's with Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker.
Wow. The Nationals are paying Patrick Corbin $35 million this year.
I know we have fun. We have never seen a sustained level of bad performance like this, like what Corbin has given us from 2021 to 2024. And I get it. I'll do the joke. Like, he sucks only in comparison to everybody else in Major League Baseball. He's way better than most of the population. But I mean, 5.82 in 31 starts, 6.31 in 31 starts, 5.20 in 32 starts, and a 5.88 in 22 starts.
It's a 5.77 ERA in that span, 21 till now. 625 and a third innings, 758 hits, 401 earned runs, 113 homers. The ERA plus, as you mentioned, is 70. The whip is 154. Hits per 9 is 10.9. Home runs per 9 is 1.6. 5.77 ERA.
I'm not much for wins and losses, but he's had a share of at least the MLB or National League lead in losses each of these 3 seasons, and will probably he's 2-11 this year, so he's got a damn good shot again.
So I was just going to say, we all know what time it is, and it's that time of the month. Rent is due, motherfucker. You got the ring in 2019, and you are now paying for that ring by way of Corbin. As Jay just said, I was going to say, he's now led the league in losses for the next 3 years. So you got the ring in 2019, you get the league leader in losses in 2021, 22, and 23. Hopefully not in 24, but making a push for it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Rent's due.
Veteran presence in the locker
ERA.
room, priceless.
Yeah,
he's teaching these young cats how to be big leaguers. And
I like Patrick Corbin. He's a very nice guy. He was.
I never met him, but I always got that. I always got that impression too.
Yeah.
Hey, lefty. He's a lefty.
Yeah. He is left-handed, Joe. That is a fact.
No doubt about it. No one disputing it. Dallas, did you already do your final thoughts?
Yes, he did. It was, yeah.
Yep, sure did. If you want to go over it again, I can. It was
we're good.
Paulie
We're
Punchout.
good. We're good.
Okay.
We're good. Jake's takes?
Just really need the Athletics to show up against the White Sox this week so we can keep Fireworks Night alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's huge. We need Fireworks Night to happen.
I'm going to be calling these games I'm going to get that joke. Can I use that tonight on the broadcast?
100%. I'm not the one who discovered this. There was a tweet by a man by the name of, so we just got to give our credit. Obviously, he didn't invent the fireworks show.
No, absolutely not. I mean,
Dallas, it's modern history too. It's since 1900.
So
I'm for the stat. I'm saying because there's the Louisville Colonels lost 26 straight in 1880 something, but that's not what we're referencing with the fireworks stuff. It would be the modern record, which is held by the Phillies.
At what, 20, what'd you say?
23. So the game Joey's referencing would be 24.
Yes.
Yep.
God bless it. All right. We will be back on Wednesday with more of your favorite baseball podcast. Baseball is Dead. As always, we appreciate you guys for watching and listening. Tell your friends. I know you guys have friends you play fantasy baseball with, and you guys have your little group text. Maybe you play MLB The Show with your buddies. Tell them about Baseball is Dead. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate all the support as always, and we will see you right back here on Wednesday. Bye-bye.
We gone.